Hi, I'm Ryan Myles, lead guitarist.
And I'm Johnny Boy, bassist.
And you're watching the Graveyard Kings.
Came up with the band name? Why do you call yourselves the Graveyard Kings?
Wow, that's a good story. Actually, it has a tie to HairBall8. I was really into the Zombie Ghost Train's first album, and I really liked their song Graveyard Queen. And that was actually one of the first, like, when I was like learning how to play guitar, that was one of the first like solos that I learned how to play. It was super simple, but I thought it was just really tasteful. I just thought the song was great and I loved the band. So I named us, because we literally had to pick a name like the night before we played our first show. So I named us the Graveyard Kings, and we got a lot of feedback and just it stuck. Like, so pretty much. But yeah, and like from what I understand, Zombie Ghost Train was on HairBall8 Records, and now we are, which is ironic, but awesome.
That is ironic and awesome. Okay. What are your influences growing up, like musically, culturally? What inspires your music?
For me, I grew up with a lot of different stuff. My dad is a blues player. I grew up around a lot of different blues players. My dad knows a lot of different famous guys, like Coco Montoya. He's been a lot of help. Like, I call him for a lot of things when I'm needing advice on band stuff, basically tour support, different ideas. And I've had a lot of support from a lot of different people. And so blues was definitely a big influence, but I always loved the rockabilly thing. But I had the mix between, I loved punk at the same time. And I mean, I was the only kid that dressed like a greaser in my school, so it was definitely just a split between, and that's naturally how you got psychobilly. And so, like, that was my personal influences. If I had to name artists, Ray Charles, like, which is more R&B, Eddie Cochran, like Zombie Ghost Train, The Brains, always been a fan of The Brains, Coffin Cats for sure. Like, those guys are cool. Like, and then, like, I've had a lot of different influences that could expand, and a lot of metal influences as well. I'm sure you can tell from the music that we write. There's a lot of metal riffs in between there. So
yeah, man, it's interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely see a lot of things coming from different genres, and it's its own thing. That's for sure. Your guys' sound is not something I've heard before,
like,
which is rare. That's rare these days.
Johnny, your turn. Who are some of your influences?
Well, as for me, I started playing music when I was 15, got into the bass when I was 17. I think my first influence was my father also. He played since I was a little kid. A lot of different styles. He played at church, and he would write his own music, and so naturally, when I picked up the electric bass, I was trying to do those types of things too. And then I got a little bit older, and I was hired to do sound at a lot of rockabilly shows around here. And so I met a lot of great stand-up bass players, and I would ask them questions about it. I had never really seen one until I started doing sound at these shows. So being an electric bass player, I was curious about the instrument. Eventually bought one and kind of just taught myself how to play it by following along with like Johnny Cash CDs, and eventually, you know, other groups like the biggest rockabilly group. It's drawing a blank.
Stray Cats?
Oh yeah, them too.
Up there.
No, I was thinking of Reverend Horton Heat. So Jimbo was a big influence. And then, you know, and I played in punk rock bands for a long time, so when I met up with Brian here, it was kind of natural for me to, because I was used to punk rock music, being in those types of bands for a long time, to just transition from electric bass to stand-up bass for this group. and it was just a challenge for me at first. I wasn't used to playing my stand-up bass that fast, but you know, I getting used to it and having a good time. People seem to like it, so we have fun when we play.
Yeah, that was different. When we were recording the Omen, I remember, I think that, I don't even know what tempo we did that at, but naturally we did it to a metronome. I think it was somewhere close to like 200 beats per minute or something. Like we really just pushed it to a whole nother level of just fast guitar, psychobilly playing with the Gretches and just distortion with the Fender guitars, and this guy really had to rip on the stand-up. Like we were we pushed it was bad. Like we were like really pushed it with that one. The stand-up bass was a really important part of that song, and I mean he nailed it like that. Like when that song comes on, the stand-up bass pulses through, like, and it's on point. But yeah, that was definitely probably like the fastest song. Like, I think probably
that song in particular stands out. What is that song about?
That song is actually, I can't remember what age I was, but I remember for the first time I watched the movie The Omen. And while I was watching The Omen, I'd never seen it before, and it was cool and everything, and I thought it was kind of like corny and all that because I was into horror movies. But later, when it got to the graveyard scene, where they go through and they find like the skeleton of the kid, that's like the real son of whoever, if you know the storyline. There's that just for some reason, just there was the scene when the wolves came and everything, it just freaked me out. And I was like looking around, because like I was watching it in the dark, I was making sure like I wasn't, I'm just saying, like, there's this, it was, I was a kid, but yeah, I got freaked out for half a second, and that movie was, altogether, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna remember this, because that doesn't happen all the time, and just something about that movie for that scene just got me. So I was inspired because I was like, yeah, that made a dent. I even remember that story to this day, so I had to write a story about the movie. So, like, that was what it came to.
How do you go about your writing process? What is your writing process like?
The writing process for me is usually I come up with a riff or a chord progression or anything within that category that I've come up with that it's just something like, I would listen to this. I think it's a cool riff that I would listen to. And if I honestly just would not be into it, or I just don't like the riff or anything, like I just can't play it because I can't get into it. So if I like it, it just thrives me to write the chord progression, and then it thrives me to write just like a chorus, a vocal melody, and eventually once I have the music down, I usually save vocals and writing the lyrics for last. Like for me, I like to put pressure on myself because when I'm like writing the lyrics, your brain just kind of goes all over the place, and sometimes the first thing that comes to your mind is just the best option without overthinking it. So when I put myself into the position of I have to write this ASAP because we have to get this song done, and the sooner I write this, the sooner we get the song done. I mean, I may be up until like 5 in the morning. I've seen the sun come up tons of times writing lyrics, but usually it's the first option that you come up with, the first thing that flows in your mind. And if you want to make tweaks later, different things, like, yeah, but that's usually how I come up with the melodies. But the music comes first. The music has to really drive, and then the vocals need to complement the music. But that's how I go about it. As for recording bass, he comes in and does his own thing, because I trust his playing altogether. Like,
he gives me some input sometimes, but yeah, I pretty much just write my own bass lines for his songs.
Yeah, and they always seem to complement each other well. So, and it flows together really well between the bass. And for us, the bass is really important because I'm a guitar player that likes bass and drums mostly. So, it flows well.
How long have you two been playing together?
A couple of years.
Good few years. Yeah. How many could we really put a number on it? How many?
Well, at least 2.
At least 2, maybe 3. Yeah, 2 or 3 together. He originally started if he just came in and recorded a track. Like he
hired me to record a track and then kind of had me on call. I had just got out of another punk rock group that I was in forever, and I just wanted to stay away from that kind of music for as long as possible. I was just sick of it. But honestly, if I didn't have a chance to play my upright bass, I probably wouldn't even have gave it any consideration. But since it was a chance for me to play my upright bass, it was fresh and new, and so he would call me when he needed me, and then eventually I just kind of just didn't leave. I just stuck around, so.
Didn't believe
Yeah.
this.
What inspired you to write the song Nothing's Left?
Wow, nothing left. So this is a really morbid answer. I wrote that song because, truth be told, it's a story about, like, there was a split between, it had something to do with, I was really upset about a girl at the time, and of course, I was just really just in a crappy position at the time because my brother passed away at the time when I was writing the lyrics for that. And I was trying to my brother had cancer at the time, and I was really trying to get everything all together. So it's a split between feeling bad about one particular thing, and then later I was just really ragging on myself about something. So altogether it just became a really morbid, rough, tough song to play. And I put a lot of effort into the vocals because I wanted it to be real and really get the message across that I was trying to make. And I hope I did. It's I hope the fans like it.
Describe how fans respond to you.
How bands respond to us?
Fans.
Oh, fans. Fans, honestly, it surprises me, consistently. Because people will come over and be sheepish to, talk to us. And of course, like a year ago or 2 years ago, I'd be like, why? We're not doing anything special, but I appreciated it. I would be walking through the mall or something with my girlfriend at the time, and then I went to go buy a pair of shoes at the Vans store, and the guy who was selling the shoes came over and really sheepishly was like, so how's the band going? I was like, huh? And I didn't know. I was like, how do you know I'm in a band? And so I later said, well, I saw you play this show where you opened up for the Necromantics. We're like, oh, no way. And then we got this when's the CD coming out? Do you have the songs recorded? When's this happening? And I got bombarded with questions. And honestly, altogether, I was really surprised, but I was totally grateful. I mean, I'll go on to Facebook and YouTube just to type in our name and see what happens, and it's just surprising. We appreciate it 100% when people post our songs, repost the demos. I've heard demos from just
girl wears
yeah,
the shirt.
yeah. Yeah, there was a thing where we posted on Instagram because somebody posted up a picture of our shirt, a girl was wearing it, and we did a thing where it was if you post a picture of your shirt, we'll screenshot it and post it on our Instagram. And so a couple girls actually, surprisingly, a couple girls specifically posted a picture of them with their shirts on, and we screenshotted them and posted them on Instagram, and we were totally grateful because that was awesome. That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, no, we appreciate every little bit of support because it's always fun to meet new people, and yeah, I hope people are not intimidated to talk to us or anything, because I've had people be kind of weird or sheepish about it. I'm like, no, we're super cool guys.
I remember my first time playing with you was at the Golden China, I believe.
That was a good show.
And I remember I didn't know what to expect. I think it was during a weeknight. We were going on really late, and I wasn't expecting much because it just, I don't know, it was a weeknight and it didn't seem like there was that many people there. So I'm like, all right, let's just get this over with. And then when we started playing, all these people came from some other room somewhere, and the room got wild, and it just woke me right up. So I was like, man, I think we're onto something here.
Yeah, it was all late and everything. We're all just like, all right, we're playing all late, whatever.
Yeah.
Then we caught our second wind. But yeah.
That was my first experience with seeing the fans react, and they liked it. They're running around, slamming.
Yeah, that was cool.
Johnny, what inspired you to join the band in the first place?
Well, like I said a minute ago, the main thing was it was a chance for me to use my upright bass. I was playing with another group before with my upright bass, but that kind of fell apart, and he hit me up to do some recording for him and to be on call for shows. So, and it was good that it worked out that way, like I was saying, because previous to this band, I was in different punk rock groups for like 20 years, and I was over it. I wanted to do other things, which I do. I still do other types of music, but he said, can you just come record for me and then maybe just play when I need you once in a while? I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I don't want to commit full time right now. And then eventually, you know, playing that first show, seeing the crowd, you know, having fun playing my upright bass, those were all factors in it, in me wanting to stick around.
What's the song Let Me Be about?
That's another corny answer. That one was just about, I had some girl that I really cared about, and she kind of totally just brushed me off over what I thought was a ridiculous answer, and I was just really upset. I just wrote a punk rock song. I just wrote a I'm pissed off song, and just from beginning to end, I don't even think I slept that night. That one really just flowed. I had like the riff, I had the like chords, and then I just literally wrote it from beginning to end, and it just flowed. And then I just showed up like the next day to band practice, and I just said, okay, so I got this song and we're gonna play this at the show next week, so everybody's gotta learn it. And thankfully the band at that time and the players like at that time all just said, yeah, we like this song. So like we worked on it and played it, and it got good feedback at the time for our first show. So
Tell us about Don't Understand. Tell us about that song.
Don't Understand is pretty much the story about just a time that was really difficult in my life, where I was frustrated about a lot of different stuff. My brother had cancer at the time. There was a lot of different feelings going on at the time, about mixed feelings about different things. And I honestly was just doing my best to try to disconnect from it, and the answer was the whole point was I couldn't understand why I couldn't just simply just disconnect and just go to something else. Like the whole answer was just I just wrote this total song of just like how bummed out I was about a lot of different things. So
what are some new songs that you guys are doing? Like what are new ideas that you bring to the band?
yeah, we have this one song that we're actually working on right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna record the bass after this.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Yeah, we're gonna go show up, and actually we were gonna go work on it today. We're gonna try to put a stand-up on this one for you guys, and it's honestly it's different than anything we've ever done. Like we really try to up the bar every time and do something different. Like we don't want to keep making the same album over and over, so we always try to like do something different, get a different guitar tone, get a different like style of playing, and like just stay true to us and just try to write like around like what we love to do. And yeah, we're always just experimenting with different ideas. The single we're working for is specifically about this book called Kieran Rise, and it's a story that a friend of ours actually, well, like a Wing Chun, we're into Wing Chun basically, a Wing Chun cousin.
He lives and breathes that stuff.
For sure. Like, but
I used to.
Yeah, our like a guy who's in the same lineage as us, he wrote this book about this girl in the future who just learns Wing Chun at a time where pretty much MMA just takes over everything, and traditional martial arts dies, and like everything becomes corporate and owned by like corporate companies and whatnot. And so the whole thing was the final chapter of what I wrote about, because Ed Cruz just wrote the final fight scene so perfectly. Like he described it from beginning to end, just where you could totally picture it. And if you know Wing Chun, there's a little fun answers in there, little fun nitbits that you would understand if you practiced it. And so that just made it more interesting to someone who was really into it. And that's why, and it's actually going to be called The Final Fight, because that's the whole concept of the song, and that was the name of the last chapter. So my response is go buy the book for sure. It's a good book. 5 stars for sure.
5 fists.
Yeah.
Who's the drummer in your band?
We just picked up a new guy. His name is Jose. His name is Jose, and we had a couple drummers since I've been in the group, and for whatever reason they didn't work out. So we have a new guy that we're gonna start rehearsing, and I'm the one that introduced him to Ryan. So he's a good guy, good solid drummer. You know, nice guy, easy to get along with. And he plays real solid, so we are looking forward to what we can do with him.
All right. So, Love Spell, how did that song come about, and what is the crowd reaction to it?
Love Spell, surprisingly, that was a song that I wrote when I wrote the music to that when I was, it was so long ago. I think I was like 13 or something, like a freshman in high school. And the thing is that we went to a show, me and my friends went to a show down the street from my house at some random venue, and nearly to nobody showed up. But there was like, oh yeah, it was just like the 4 of us, but like 2 other people or something. Yeah. But the band that was playing was actually called the Reckless Ones, and we all just had a blast. They put on an awesome show, even just for like the 5 of us, like all in the crowd. And they killed it, and we thought it was awesome, and they were the coolest people. They talked to us, and I was so driven by the music and just the vibe that they gave that when we came home, we all just wanted to jam on our guitars, and we all, like, for me and all my friends who were musicians, and I just wrote the lick for that. I wrote the little, like, riff for the song right then and there, just because I was just feeling it from all the energy we just got from that show. Later, I put the chord progression behind it, and like it all just kind of came together. And the story behind the lyrics, that's kind of an interesting story. Nobody's ever asked this. I've had people come over and go, oh, I love that, it's such a beautiful love song and stuff, I think it's so sweet. And there's actually a messed up story behind it. I knew this kid in high school that he was really into, like, he just had this fascination with, like, Satanism and satanic kind of, like, stuff. And hey, whatever, I don't judge, that's your thing, it doesn't mean anything to me, like, that's cool. But he had this thing where there was this beautiful girl in high school, like, total knockout, like, and he just had a thing for her, and, like, next day, all we knew is that, like, she was, like, around his arm, and he was walking around and was like, oh yeah, this is my girlfriend, and we're like, what? Like, it's the grungy punk rocker kid. We're like, really? Like, hey, whatever. I was like, how'd you do it? Supposedly, he said that he threw some crap into a pentagram or some stuff, and there was this whole concept of he did some sort of love spell to get this chick to like him. And, like, we were just like, okay, right on. Like, cool, and just whatever we all thought about it, like,
he probably
was
paid
like,
her.
yeah, he paid her. Like, years later, we come to find out.
Mess with my friends.
Yeah,
I'll give you $20 if you act like you're mine.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that was the story, and honestly, it was just such an interesting concept and such a really kind of moment. And so I just came home and I just like had this song. I just had the music for this song, and I made like a little demo on my phone for like years. I didn't have any, like, I freaking probably came back when I was like 16 or 17, and I reopened the song that I've been playing just because I liked the riff that I came up with, just because it was fun to play for like years, and I just wrote the lyrics from beginning to end and just had it, and just that was the inspiration to Love Spell. So kind of a love song, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a love song. There's definitely a story behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so who are the Graveyard Kings?
What an artistic question. How are we gonna paint this?
Yeah.
This has to sound all artsy. How are we gonna do this?
We're just a group of guys from a beach town that don't really fit into that beach vibe. You know, we live 2 miles from the beach, and I never go. I like being out at night. We like being out at night. We like being in the music scene. You know, me personally, I feel like I can kind of vibe with different groups of different types of people, but I'm not necessarily like a part of them. You know, I'm kind of like a visitor in different groups, and I feel like that with him. I mean, I'm older than him, obviously, and he used to come to bar shows before he was old enough, but he still managed to fit in and be fine in there, and it reminded me of me. And
let's not say what the venues are, though.
No. It's just like we kind of have this thing about us where we can fit in wherever we're at, but not necessarily be a part of it either. You know, we kind of just float around here.
Right.
So
you can blend and mix and kind of come and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think that has a big influence on our writing and our style too. Because there's no definitive like style that we like. We don't just like one particular thing. Honestly, I think that's been the big thing about not having what we do be so repetitive. Because there is no definitive answer of what we do. It really is just like kind of whatever we're feeling that week. Like, and so with that being said, we just pick and choose the different ideas we have, and we have so many influences that there's no like same pigeonhole box we're coming from every single time. So it can go all kinds of ways with us, and we're always shooting to do something different than like next level every time.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, so are we. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Me personally, I'm looking forward to hitting the road and getting out of Southern California for a bit to meet new people, play new venues, hopefully make new connections as a step ladder to future shows. And you know, we could bring bands out to where we're from if they want to come to the coast over here, and you know, just build those types of connections. Hopefully meet you guys in person, your company, and have a personal face-to-face meeting. That'd be great.
Yeah, honestly, if I had to sum this up, like the number one thing is just like we highly appreciate the fans that have came out to our shows and have written us the fan mail that we've gotten on Facebook. Highly appreciate that 100%. Like we've seen posts of our songs like from the demos, from the like real recordings. Like we appreciate the support, and we can't wait to hit the road and start going. Shout out to HairBall8 Records, badass artwork that we have. They totally hooked us up with it, and Dan Connor drew it, and he's drawn stuff for the Misfits, draws the Wonder Woman comics. Like, yeah, we can't wait to get out there and just start touring and meet all you guys all together. Like,
It's gonna be fun for sure, man. Right, well, I guess that's probably it, right? You can maybe do something like this again. Maybe we do it when we're out here.
Yeah.
Do maybe a little interview or something.
yeah, that'd be great.
That way Jose will be there too. So.
Yeah, you can meet Jose. Well, thank you for having us once again. Like, shout out to HairBall8 Records and our joint venture with Urgency Records. We appreciate like all you guys have done for us and hooking us up with all the things you have.
All right, well, thank you guys too. Can't wait to see you guys when you're out here.
Hi, I'm Ryan Myles.
I'm Johnny Boy, bassist.
And you're watching The Graveyard Kings. Kevin, halfway can't take this seriously. Alright, take two. Alright. Hi, I'm Ryan Myles, lead guitarist.
And I'm Johnny Boy, bassist.
And you're watching the Graveyard Kings.
Instead of you're watching the Graveyard Kings, how about you just say like we are the Graveyard Kings?
Yeah, I'll go with that. You want to do it at the same time?
No.
Come on.
No, dude. Just say it.
Okay.